Hello there, I'm Big Alias, and despite the cheerful greeting, despite the, quite frankly, evangelical, whimsical, happy-go-lucky intro, how am I talking about? This is not a happy video. This is not a good, joyous, happy video. Oh, happy days? No freaking way. I didn't mean to rhyme during a very serious video. But no, okay, serious caps. Some unfortunate things happened. Some not shocking things happened, quite frankly. And I guess I want to quickly talk about these very briefly, because this is something I've touched on a lot in different varying ways. I've spoken about this during the Bungie layoffs, during something else recently. But essentially, for anyone who somehow doesn't know, a couple of things happened in gaming recently in the past week or so, and both of them sucked. Both of them sucked a lot. Helldivers 2 is a PlayStation game. It's a Sony game that's on PlayStation and PC. A lot of people loved and thought it was absolutely fantastic. Personally, I haven't played it. I don't have a PS5, and my PC wouldn't run friggin' Angry Birds, let alone Helldivers 2. So I haven't played it myself. I know people who have and who vouch for it and say it's awesome. It looks fantastic. So kudos to, the Sony fans. Really great game for you there. But unfortunately, recently, they announced a thing where you'll have to sign in to the PlayStation Network in order to play the game on Steam. A lot of people justified this by saying, it's a quick process. And then other people have sort of clapped back with, well, actually, here's the issue. The issue being that PlayStation Network actually isn't allowed in, I think, over 100 countries, which means that this game now becomes unplayable on Steam for many, many people out there, unless they use some sort of illegal bypass, which Steam don't like. So the game was just delisted altogether on Steam in a lot of countries out there. But also, I don't think you should have to make excuses for that. I think it's bullshit. Many people have brought up the fact that the PlayStation Network gets hacked constantly. It's not a stable network. It's not a very safe place to put your information. And you're taking a big risk in doing so. And, in order to play your PC game, it just seems bizarre. It doesn't seem right. So obviously a bunch of people protested. They're not happy about it. The score for the game on Steam went from overwhelmingly positive to overwhelmingly negative. People were boycotting the game. They didn't want to play the game anymore. Fortunately, Sony backpedaled really quickly and decided to actually not make people do that anymore. But I wouldn't trust that altogether. The second awful thing that happened, and this one doesn't have a happy ending, is that Xbox, Microsoft, whatever, have closed down Tango Gameworks. I believe it's Tango Gameworks. These are the people who made Hi-Fi Rush, which was a tremendous game from last year. They also made Ghostwire Tokyo and Evil Dead 2. The Evil Within 1 and 2. Evil Within 2 is one of my favorite underrated games as well. So I'm very disappointed by that, because I had the tiniest little inkling of hope for an Evil Within 3, because I loved Evil Within 2 so much. I thought it was an awesome game. And of course, I think a Prey game, or maybe 2. I think they were also involved in Redfall. This sucks, and this is not recoverable. This is not a good thing. It's not good for the PR of Xbox, and it's not something that's going to be walked back. You don't just walk back a studio closure. My heart goes out to everyone involved. That is just not. It's such a horrible industry. And I think the worst part about this, man, the thing that pisses me off the most about this, and something I don't really see a lot of people saying, is okay, right, I get it. Well, to an extent, don't kill me, but to an extent, I understand that these are games that were not critical darlings. Most of these were not reviewed particularly well. Even Within 2, which I love to death, I think that had a 70 on most, an overall 7 out of 10. Redfall was absolutely panned and people hated it. Ghostwire Tokyo, I don't think was particularly successful in terms of sales. These games they weren't overwhelmingly successful in terms of sales. I don't know about Hi-Fi Rush though. I think I did hear that Hi-Fi Rush was okay. But what's really frustrating is that the reason a lot of these games weren't successful, mostly, Redfall, was because it was not a very liked game. People did not like it because of the direction that they were forced into. They were forced into by Microsoft or Xbox or whoever was high up, maybe Bethesda, some kind of company that was high up, forced them to make a game that they did not want to make. They didn't want to make Redfall the way that they made it. And now they're having to close because of it. And we see this story time and time again in the industry where there are these people who they're talented, they're good at what they do, they make good stuff, they have a history of making good stuff, and then they're backed into a corner where a bunch of slick back hair, small dick, asshole executives tell them, this is what's selling well, this is what's doing well, you should make this, you should do this one. And then they make it, and obviously it fails because these people have no idea what people want to buy. They just look at statistics and they don't actually do field research and look into what people actually want. So then the games fail and whatever products fail, and then this happens. Studios get closed, and I hate it. It's very frustrating. It's a very frustrating situation, and I don't think it's their fault. Honestly, I don't think it's their fault. I think I'm very angry at Microsoft for this. This is not a good situation. This just comes back to the thing that I've said 1,000 times on this channel before. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to close with this, is that these companies are not on your side, dude. I know that Sony have walked this back, but let's not forget that they wanted to implement it to begin with. There was no reason for this to be implemented. There was no reason for this to happen other than them collecting data from you and making money from that. It's completely self-serving. It has no benefit for you whatsoever, putting your information on another platform and having to do that. It's all for them. They are not on your side. Microsoft are not on your side. They're, as much as Phil Spencer will give the illusion of being like a man of the gamers, and I've got an Xbox Live profile and I play video games too. As much as he wants to pretend to be that guy, he's not that guy. None of them at the top are that guy. Okay, even if he is a gamer, I mean, yeah, he has a fairly high gamer score. He still wants to keep his position. He still wants to make as much money as he can for the company. They are not in it for you. They're not there to help you. These businesses, they are just businesses. If you saw the people at the top, if you saw the people pulling the strings at the top, you would not consider these people to be on your side. You never would. Now, I do think you should differentiate between developer and executives, but the executives, they have no interest in gaming whatsoever. It's just figures for them, and this type of thing happens because Tango don't quite make as much as they wanted them to. There probably won't be an Alan Wake 3, which is so disappointing to me, and this could be a big hit for Remedy, which is a huge letdown for me, purely because Alan Wake 2 didn't make quite as much money as they wanted. Well, it didn't make its budget back, and that's because of Epic exclusivity, and the suits did bad. They did wrong in this situation, and that's what it always comes down to. It's just such a sad situation. But yeah, they're not here for you. Sony are not here for you. They implemented it to begin with. They walked it back because you criticized, and that is the biggest message from this, by the way. Do not feel afraid to criticize. Just because you enjoy a brand doesn't mean you have to serve it. That's very important. They're not here for you. They're disgusting, and they're willing to be disgusting. Anyway, I wish I could have ended on a lighter note, but I can't, and I'll see everyone later.
The PlayStation is only $149, and you can also get leading titles.